Hi, it's Raul Mosley, the other half of Bourbon and Pearls, along with Jamie Mosley. And I want to invite you to this new series to help us just interact with you all and have a sense of building a stronger community within the Bourbon and Pearls family. So this is the very first episode. We'll see how this goes. We'll launch this week, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So that's my official welcome for this. I do want to share that we do have a birthday booty call going on. So you can check that out in the Facebook group and also on our website at Bourbon and Pearls Boudoir.com. And most of the details will be there for you. A number of you have already submitted applications, and we will be getting to that very shortly. And so we'll be in touch with you about potentially scheduling your sessions. So looking forward to that. Okay, so we're going to have a number of different topics throughout the series, and I'm just going to throw this one out here at the beginning, which to me is becoming a whole lot of fun. So we've been doing this now for about 2 years since we launched our business, and boudoir wasn't something I had done before in the past, with the exception of a couple shoots, and so it really was a whole new world to me. Cue the Disney music on that one. And I'd been doing a lot of corporate work, a lot of event photography, corporate headshots, things along the lines of that, where most people are facing straight towards the camera. But in boudoir photography, you get 360-degree view sometimes if they're facing completely the opposite direction, or sideways even, or at an angle. So one of my real big areas of focus has been to develop a series of workable poses that will work for pretty much any given body type. So some of you know I've got a PhD, so I'm into data analysis. I think through things in depth. And over really the last year and a half in particular, I've been developing a strategy for posing that I think is going to be a whole lot of fun during our sessions. So without further ado, I'm going to put a mysterious, somewhat coded sheet of codes right here on the screen. And what you're looking at now are the 105 posing ballparks, is what I'm calling them. These are codes that will help me categorize the different poses that we're going to offer in our sessions. So we'll get that back off the screen now. And I'm going to be able to share more details about this in the future, but it's really, really simple. There are 7 different poses that most of our clients will do. And that's true pretty much across the board for most boudoir photography. Very simply, there's standing, there's sitting. Those two are real obvious. There's squatting, there's kneeling. So those are 4 right there. And then we've got 3 lying down poses. Lying down on your back, on the front, on the side. And that pretty much covers 99% of the photos in a boudoir type of shoot. Now, I'm looking right at the camera right now, so I'm going to pretend that I'm the photographer behind the camera and that there's this big clock that's going around me right now, and I'm looking towards 6 o'clock. I've got 12 o'clock that way, and then either 3 or 9, I'm not good on directions, but to the sides, there we go, we've got that. So we've also got these dials. So this would be 6. And so some of those codes that I had on that piece of paper that I showed earlier would be oriented towards 6 o'clock, oriented towards facing the camera. And you've got a whole lot of poses that are going to be in that ballpark. Others are coded towards 12, others towards 3, towards 9, and then finally there are 2 other angles. There's one that's kind of off this way, which I believe could be 7:30. My directions are all backwards since my camera's backwards here. And then 4:30 maybe on this edge right over here. And then same thing on the back where you've got 1:30 and you've got 10:30. So it's really just splitting the angles between 12 o'clock and then the 3 and 9 positions here. So anyway, when you put all that stuff together, you've got a 6, you've got a 12, you've got a 3, you've got a 9. So And then we've also got the other angles. So actually it's 12 and 6. Those are the two ones that I don't share with a different number. The other numbers that do get shared are 3 and 9, because when I look at samples of that, when I'm looking at different pictures to see what other photographers have done, it doesn't really matter whether they're facing this way or that way. It's the same exact thing, and I could flip that pose in my studio depending on the way I've got the lighting going. Same thing with 4:30 and 7:30. Same thing with 1:30 and 10:30. So that gives me basically 5 basic clock positions. That gives me 6, 12, and then it gives me 3 or 9. It gives me 4:30 or 7:30, and then finally it gives me 1:30 or 10:30 if they're angled back that direction. So 7 basic poses with 5 basic clock positions. That's 35 possible posing ballparks. And I call them posing ballparks because it's not the final pose. It just gets you in the ballpark for then us refining the pose that you're going to be in. And then one last thing, we've got 3 basic body types that I'm just using for my analysis. You've got really thin, you've got medium, you've got curvy. So you take those 3, multiply it times the 35 from the 7 poses and 5 clock positions. That gives us 105 possible posing ballparks. So what I'm doing is just working on refining each of those 105. There are going to be some of those, for example, that just don't work for some body types. And eventually I'll really have a good handle on what not to do with certain body types, and definitely the green lights on what to do. So you're going to hear a lot more about that behind the scenes posing strategy as I develop what I hope will be a training seminar for other photographers around the nation and the world, working on doing a draft of a book. Whether it turns out to be an ebook or a print book, we'll see. But I would like to get people in here and feature them on this show where we go through some of these poses, and I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's what I've been spending a lot of my quote-unquote off time doing here in the last few weeks, is just working on tweaking that concept. Okay, next topic. I have on my wrist a new Garmin Forerunner 245 watch, mainly because I wanted to get a little more analytical with my training. Not that I've done a whole lot of training in the past, so it's kind of an inspiration to do training, get the watch and be motivated to go to the gym type thing. So I got it on, I think, Wednesday night, and made it to the gym on Thursday, made it to the gym on Friday, really made it to the gym on Friday. And so I needed Saturday and Sunday to recover big time. But it's Monday now, so I'm looking at heading back to the Y in Kokomo and doing some type of workout there. Might try the swimming pool today, depending on the schedule. So anyway, the reason I bring this up is I found the option on my app to connect with other people who are also doing workouts, and it's like, okay, I don't know anything about that. But my name on Garmin is Raul Mosley, RaulMosley. So if you know how to make the whole connect thing on your app work, then that would be cool if we could follow each other. I think I went through and turned on everything I needed to turn on to make my profile searchable. So anyway, we'll see. I do have a question of the day, which is the next topic here that I'm going to be launching. In fact, it's already on the Facebook group for Bourbon and Pearls now. And forget exactly what it was, but it's if you vacuum seal your food, and if you do you have any tips for that? I throw that out there because Jamie and I just got a brand new food saver from Meijer the other day, and last night was the first time that we'd ever used that to vacuum seal steaks that we got at Sam's, and some other stuff too. So we're big into cooking. We love our spices, often buy them in bulk, and go down to Indianapolis, go to Patel Brothers, for example, and get some really good spices down there. But I'm looking at ways to seal small mason jars and other things to be able to keep our spices fresh. So if you have tips, little things that you do in your home regarding vacuum sealing, would love to see that. So feel free to post on that post, to comment on that post on the Facebook group, and I'll try to integrate some of that input during tomorrow's video. I have got a little slot here for inspiration. And I'm not sure where I'm going to be able to find so much inspiration that I'll be able to have one tip for every day. And I'm going to strike out on this one because I'll even put it on the screen for you. It's never too late to be what you might have been. All right, just found that on Google search, typing in inspiration. It was like the first thing that came up. It's never too late to be what you might have been. And at first I thought, oh, that's cool. That's real positive. And then I realized what a big lie that whole thing probably is for a lot of people, including me, depending on what it is that you want to become and where you happen to be in life. You know, Daisy's barging on in now, as she often does. Hey, Daisy Boo. I think I hear Jamie working down the hallway. She works in the financial services industry, so she's usually busy on a ton of teleconferences. So, all right. So, it's never too late to be what you might have been. There's, I think most guys probably dream about being an NFL quarterback or, some pro athlete. And you reach a certain point where you just no longer can do that. I've seen a ton of people who dream about becoming Miss America, but there's only one of those a year. And, the statistical improbability is staggering on that. So, boy, as time goes by, that statement becomes less and less true. But the cool thing is that you and I have a myriad of wonderful opportunities that are ahead of us if we have the vision to be able to see what those could be and start taking significant steps on a path toward those opportunities. And that's not as perhaps inspirational. That's just hard work, taking steps down those paths which sometimes are just difficult to go down. But when you accomplish that opportunity, when you accomplish taking advantage of it, the sense of fulfillment will be quite strong, of course. So anyway, I encourage you, just like I'm trying to encourage myself to look for those new opportunities. I remember taking some course in brainstorming techniques back in the past, and one of the ideas that I remember hearing was that some of the best brainstorming results come from items 11, 12, and 13 on a list. And sometimes we never make it that far. Let's brainstorm, and we just come up with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. And I think it's really helpful for us to take some time and just think about all the things that could be still valid opportunities for us, given the position that we happen to be in life. So that's a theme that we could come back to really throughout the year. So that's our semi-inspirational moment for the day, tinged with a little bit of realism. One last thing before I say we'll see you back tomorrow is that I think it would be a blast to have some guest co-host on this program. So if you have something to share that you think might be of value, of encouragement, especially of inspiration for our group, then would love to have you on this session. That includes, first and foremost, our wonderful hair and makeup artist. So if they have tips regarding makeup and hair and styling, for those of you who have tips regarding fashion, maybe you're in the fashion industry, maybe you've got a boutique and you want to give us some tips about doing whatever, this would be a perfect opportunity for that. So what I'll probably do is record a show like this sometime in the middle of the day to make it accessible. But if I know I'm going to have a co-host and you can only make it during the evening, we could arrange that. We'll just kind of have to figure this stuff out on the fly. I might not be able to produce one of these on days that we have a photo shoot, which would be next Friday for sure. We've got a wonderful session scheduled. So anyway, first episode, thank you for joining us. Looks like I hit record on both places, so that's good. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.